without further ado, we are here today to give a proper send-off to young Cale Turner on his excellent adventure to the continent of Europe and parts beyond. He has a very ambitious agenda, and to be real honest with you, I'm very jealous of that. I'd like to go. But he was a little worried about that because he thought I was serious about it. You know, Cale's been around for 6 to 7 years, and I just wanted to have an opportunity to express our sentiments for what he's meant to the farm. And some of that will be serious, and some of that will not be. We're just going to open the floor and let some. We've seeded the mind to a certain extent. Some of y'all have prepared remarks. Okay. So let's just get started. I've asked Mallory to kind of kick it off. So Mallory, I think you need to come up here because we're actually going to be on YouTube later.
All right. I have a few remarks just off the top of my head. And I hope this does set the tone. So, a little bit serious, but not so much. My first impression of Cale was this brash, cocky, cynical, overly competitive, know-it-all, and I liked him immediately. Truth be known, it was a little while before I got to know Cale very well. We came over from Deloitte in 2004, and we were just kind of getting settled in and getting to know everybody. And one thing I did notice immediately, though, was there was this friendship growing between one of my favorite people in the world, Aaron Gibbs, and Cale Turner. And you know, as I watched that friendship grow, I knew immediately that this Cale Turner was a good person. Because if you know Aaron Gibbs, you know the sort of people that she befriends. So, you know, it was then that I decided that Cale was a great guy. And never mind the fact that sometimes he takes pride in being a little bit of an ass. And, never mind his competitive nature that sometimes borders on the ludicrous. We're here to praise Cale, not to bury him, so I'll say again that Cale Turner is a good person. I mean, you might wonder about somebody who often refers to a certain partner at Thomas & Thomas as Lex Luthor, and even goes so far as to consider him his arch nemesis. And you might wonder about somebody who just completely obliterates his opponents every time we play a certain little computer game called Age of Empires. Every single time we play. And Cale, some people might say that you're a hard-drinking, cigar-smoking, gambling addict. Some people might say that, but I wouldn't say that because I kind of share the same vices. We won't say that. And Cale, some might even consider you something of a notorious bachelor, especially if some of those people happen to be some of the women you dated. But for those of you who may not know, Cale's had quite an entertaining history during his tenure at JPMS. We could probably go into that history, but we'd be here until next week, and we wouldn't want Cale to miss his plane to Europe. So. Regardless, though, a couple of them do stand out. And I hope I won't embarrass them too much when I mention these, because I always got a great kick out of hearing about these stories, and I have a feeling y'all will too. The first one that I really, or the second favorite, I guess, was the blind date. I think it was a blind date that Cale went on, and this was a young woman who actually had a couple of inches on Cale, and she was a little bit taller than him. For whatever reason, the date wasn't going that well, but regardless, they went out to dinner, and Cale took her to a nice restaurant. I forget where they actually went, but they got to the restaurant, and of course the waitress was seating them, and as the waitress was seating them at the table, his date asked if she could get Cale a booster chair. is, and I'm not exactly sure the premise of this, whether it was a woman that he met and later went out with, or a woman that he just happened to go out on a date with. This was an older woman. But, you know, we all know Cale's a confident man, and older women, fine. But they were chatting and getting to know each other, and she inquired, you know, where Cale worked. And he let her know that he was an accountant at Jeffrey Phillips Mosley and Scott. And she asked, do you work with Brian Jeffrey? And he answered, yes, yeah, I work with Brian Jeffrey. Well, apparently, Cale's not the only one familiar with the dating scene in Little Rock. And a certain Brian Jeffrey happened to also date this lady, his former single life. That's a favorite story well, so unbeknownst to Cale, I actually tried calling some of these women to see if maybe, you know, if any of them would have any comments about him or his impending trip. Well, the only one that didn't immediately hang up on me, she must have confused your destination, because for some reason she thought you were actually going somewhere much, much hotter. But in all seriousness, I want to say that, and this has already been said, Cale, you've been a tremendous asset to this firm. Everyone will attest to that. Despite the brashness, the cockiness, the competitiveness, you know, it's been great having you here, and everyone will attest to the value that you've been to this firm. And you're a man of keen intellect, good humor, great integrity. But more than that, you've been a good friend to me, and I'll miss you and wish you all the best on your journey. So, good luck. Bye. On you.